Hello and welcome to the Rogers Brief. I'm Adam Rogers. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening if you're catching this on Apple or Spotify podcast. Today I want to talk to you about policing in Nova Scotia, and this is an issue that's likely to dominate at least the early portions of the Mass Casualty Commission hearings when they start in late February. The performance and the decisions made by the police on the night of April 18th and April 19th, that morning, are going to come under scrutiny certainly in the early weeks and months of the Mass Casualty Commission hearings. And so I thought it would be good to set some context on the jurisdictional questions that are involved in this. So first question is, why is that important? Okay, consider a few things. First, the Canadian Constitution says that the administration of justice and policing, which is part of that, is a provincial responsibility, not federal. But in Portapique, the night of the 18th, morning of the 19th, they were being policed by the federally established and controlled RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. And the closest, or two of the closest, backup police forces were the municipal police forces in Truro and in Amherst. Further to that, the killer, the gunman, had a property in addition to Portapique. He had a place in Dartmouth as well, and so the Halifax Regional Police, municipal police force, was also involved in the situation. So there we have multiple jurisdictions at the same time. And of course communication could be an issue, of course, when you're dealing across jurisdictional boundaries. So another question for you is, who is the chief of the Nova Scotia Police? Now, the Police Act, which is provincial legislation establishing policing in Nova Scotia and regulating how it is structured, says that the Minister of Justice may appoint a chief of the Nova Scotia Police, but it's not obvious that that authority is utilized, or if indeed there even is a chief of the Nova Scotia Police Force. Now, consider this: the commanding officer, of the RCMP was Lee Bergerman up until last October when she retired. But she was appointed in 2018. When I look back at the announcements, there was an announcement by the RCMP that Lee Bergerman was appointed as the commanding officer for the RCMP in Nova Scotia, but nothing from the Provincial Department of Justice to indicate that. And then when Lee Bergerman retired, announced that she was retiring just before the hearings were set to start in October, by the way, of course, many would know that. There was no announcement by either the RCMP or the Department of Justice, and now we have a replacement for Lee Bergerman as the commanding officer of the RCMP in Nova Scotia, and that wasn't announced, but media sources have found out that a person by the name of Dennis Dory is now the commanding officer for the RCMP in Nova Scotia. Anyway, it's something that is perhaps a little known fact, or something that wasn't certainly covered extensively. But the RCMP has a large presence in Nova Scotia. They cover by the 2012, when the latest contract was renewed, there's some information that indicated that the RCMP covers 60% of the population of Nova Scotia and 94% of the landmass. And some of the larger municipalities like Halifax, Cape Breton Regional Municipality, Truro, Kentville, New Glasgow, are covered by municipal police forces. They have their own police forces. But the RCMP covers quite a large chunk of Nova Scotia, and so they have lots at stake here. They are here by contract, not by jurisdictional, constitutional jurisdictional decree. And the previous minister, Minister Mark Fury, in the last government, had announced a policing review, which is a power that is in the Police Act, that the minister, under Section 7 of the Act, can order a review into any matters involving policing, or a broad review into policing generally. And media indications certainly had suggested that Minister Fury had ordered such a review. There was no other documentation, nothing public anyway, available that would confirm that, but there was some indication that a review had started. Minister Brad Johns, now of the new PC government, has said that that review is on hold pending the Mass Casualty Commission's hearings, and I think that's the appropriate approach. Certainly, the Mass Casualty Commissions are going to inform any review that may take place, and I would suggest that the Commission hearings would be a prelude to, a larger review of policing in Nova Scotia. But we'll see how that unfolds. The other thing I think about is that the contract with the RCMP may have, either as a stated or implied term, some performance-based termination clauses as well. And so they may have something at stake there, depending on how things unfold during the Mass Casualty Commission hearings or any review that may follow. Now, so right now, policing seems to be run mostly by the federal RCMP and the municipal governments, the large municipal governments in Nova Scotia. But it may be the case that the province will need to assert the authority that is in the Constitution, in the Police Act, and look at developing a true unified Nova Scotia police force sometime in the near future. So that's a look at the jurisdictional situation when it comes to the police in Nova Scotia, how we are policed, who has authority over the police in Nova Scotia, and what may unfold as we get into the early days of the Mass Casualty Commission hearing and beyond. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope that was informative, set some context for some of the testimony that's going to come up here in the next month when the Mass Casualty Commission hearings actually begin. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been the Rogers Brief, and we'll see you next time.